My name is Vito, um, and I'm joined with Fish Stark from Peace First and a couple colleagues from my job, America's Promise Alliance. So essentially, today's meeting, as I mentioned before, is going to be going through the process of completing the application for the Power of Youth Challenge. The goal of getting young people to sign up for this was to make people inspired to do service in their community and just to show that like one small action can lead to large change. And so we're hoping to galvanize as many young people as possible to do stuff to give back to their community and to get their peers to also want to do service projects as well. Throughout the webinar, Fish is going to be walking everyone through completed projects, the way to actually go about completing the application and starting your project. And we'll be taking questions, which will be answered at the end. So in order to ask a question, you simply type in the chat box. So there's already something here in the chat box, and I'm going to type also when it's time to start fielding questions. But throughout, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to type them into the chat box, and then we'll circle back at the end and answer any questions. So with that, I turn it over to Fish.
Hey folks, it's so good to see so many of you on this call and to be here with you. I'm going to start sharing my screen as I talk. So bear with me for one moment while I get my screen to pop up. All right, can everybody see me? Vito, can you see me all right?
Yes.
Perfect. So my name's Fish. I work for an organization called Peace First, and we're working with America's Promise Alliance to help young people all across the U.S. identify problems in their community they want to solve and make a difference right now, not someday in the future. 5 years to help young people all around the world make change in their communities right now. Because what we've seen throughout history, whether it's in the civil rights movement with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or in other movements that we've seen around the world, when young people take action to make their world a better place, they can make a powerful difference. So I'm 23. I actually started out in Peace First programs as a young person, building programs that made my school a place where everyone belonged. And now I have the honor of helping young people all around the country and the world make a difference. And I want to tell you some of their stories and show you how you can make a difference too. So if you're a young person and you say, I see a problem in my community, or even, I don't know what the problem is I want to solve, but I know I want to make a difference, you can start your journey right now by going to peaceFirst.org/challenge/power-youth and click on Join Challenge. So you've got Join the Power of Youth Challenge, Join Challenge, and with one click, we're going to ask you to log in or create an account, which you can do by linking your Facebook or putting in your email. Once you've logged in, you can immediately start creating your project by sharing with us an injustice that you care about. And if you don't know what injustice you care about yet, that's okay. Because at this stage, just like every other stage of the process, we have tools that you can use to dive deeper into the issue that you're investigating. So in this stage, we have tools to help you do community mapping work and talk to other people and identify what are the problems in my community that I really want to solve. And so I'm going to come back in a moment and talk about, well, what happens when you tell us about the problem you want to solve? What kind of help do we give you to go from knowing that you want to solve a problem to solving that problem? The thing I want to do before that is show you the incredible community that we've built of young people from all over the country who are standing up to work on problems in their communities. You've got over 200 projects that have accepted the challenge and enrolled. Young people are at different stages. Some of them are working on deciding what they'd like to do. Some of them have already got their grants and are on the way to making change happen. All of these projects you can find on the challenge page, and you can click on them and see what they're doing. So you can have a dialogue with them, you can read about what they're doing and see if it inspires you. And we really encourage you to do that because one of the things that we've learned from studying social movements is that none of them happen when people work alone, right? But when you collaborate with and learn from other people, you make your work better and you support theirs as well. So feel free to browse, especially if you're not ready to start yet, all the projects that are going on in the challenge. And I actually want to show you a few of them that are going on right now. Um, so ACE is a young person in Georgia who's working to make sure that their schools are places where everyone is accepted. ACE has gone through and done the work to identify the problem they want to solve and a compassionate insight. So an idea that's going to solve the problem, and then built out a project plan. So all those things that ACE is doing to make their school safe and inclusive for everyone, you can see ACE's plan, and you can see ACE's having a dialogue with Andrea from our team. You can see ACE's plan, and then you can join that conversation and say, hey, I think this is a good idea. How are you doing on that? Or, hey, have you considered this? Or just cheer ACE on and say, hey, I believe in you. I want to show you what a project page looks like, what your project page might look like once you've gone all the way through. So Quinn is a participant in one of our past challenges in the US, and she's doing really important work in her community in Portland, Oregon, to make sure that every kid has access to good dental health. So Quinn went through the steps of our process and has shared out not just her project plan, but once she got her grant and went and did her project, she shared out all of the work that she did. So now anyone in our community who's working on a public health project can see what Quinn did, learn from the challenges that she faced, and the triumphs that she had, and build their own project based on that. And so you can see a full archive of all those projects young people have worked on under the projects tab. And as you go along with your own project, you'll be able to post updates, share photos and videos. This is Quinn, from the work that you're doing, and engage in dialogue with young people from all over the country, right? So we've got some staff members like me commenting on Quinn's project, but then we've got Jeremiah, a young person who's a part of our community, who's coming in and having a conversation with Quinn as well. So this is what it looks like when your project is completed. But what I want to do is take you through the process of how you go about getting from here to there. If you're saying, well, I know I really want to work on homelessness in my community, or I really want to work on building better relationships between people across lines of difference, that's a great place to start. And even if you don't know where to go from there, that's okay, because that's what we're here to help you with. So as I was showing you before, when you click on the Join Challenge button, you start a journey, and the first stage of the journey is telling us what you care about, what you want to solve. But there's so many more parts to that journey. As you go through, you're going to go through um, really trying to understand that problem, building a really deep base of knowledge by talking to people with multiple perspectives around, hey, what's causing this problem? Where is it coming from? What can we do about it? And coming up with a big idea, building that into a plan. And then when you build your plan, that's where you can get funding to turn that plan into action. And then taking action and showing us what you did. So when you share your injustice, what you're going to do is take a brief survey, and then you're going to put in a few more details to create your project page. So you can make your project page public or private. You can include an image or a video. You can tell us where your project is happening, and you can give it a title. Give yourselves a team name, or share about what you're doing. And then you get your own project page, like the ones you just saw that Ace and Quinn have. Once you have your project page, you can also add other team members to it. So you can click this link right here and add a mentor or a friend who's working with you by putting in their email. And you can always, even if you're on your dashboard, click this link to see what your public project page looks like. So once you've created that project page and you've raised your hand and made an intention to say, I want to work on solving this problem, we then take you through the phase of understanding where that problem is coming from. The most important thing that we have you do is have conversations with others in your community. So every problem has people who are affected by it. Almost every problem has people who are trying to solve it. And some problems might have people who are causing the problem, or at least invested in things staying the same as they are, invested in the status quo. What we encourage you to do is talk to all of those people, and we have a tool that you can work with that helps you have those conversations, especially when they can be tricky. Helps you think of questions to ask, helps you set up those interviews, and helps you understand how to stay safe as you do that process. And so as you go through that, as Daniel did, you'll share what these conversations are teaching you, who you're talking with, what you're learning from them, and you'll dig into, we have a helpful diagram that you can use if you like, you'll dig into some of the root causes. Sure, you have a problem, but what's behind that problem? What's the reason that problem has come up? Because solving the root cause is going to be really critical to solving the problem. And what you're going to do is you're going to take all of that information you collect from your interviews, and you're going to build that into what we call a compassionate insight. It's a big idea about how you're going to make change. But we call it a compassionate insight because it's a big idea that's grounded in dialogue, grounding in talking to and listening to other people about their visions on the problem, their perspectives, which might be very different from yours, and what they'd like to change. So at this stage, you share, hey, this is the problem I want to solve. This is the root cause we're addressing. And then this is what we're actually going to do to make it happen. And you share that with the community. And you've seen that on some of the other project pages I've shared. Now, at that point, that's when your adult mentor will get into contact you. So Kelsey, a member of our team, is chatting with Daniel here and is saying, hey, these are some of the things that you might want to think about, right? Here are some of the things that I think are really awesome. Here are some things that you might think about further. You see, Kelsey is asking some questions that'll push Daniel's thinking further. That feedback is there to help you, and you can start a dialogue with your mentor right here and add a comment and say, hey, this was a great idea that you shared. How can I make that happen? Or, well, I didn't really understand the feedback you gave me here. Can you tell me more about that? So at each of these stages of the process, you're talking to a real human being who cares about you and your work, and you can have a conversation with them about what to do. Um, and so often the big idea is where we stop, right? But what we do at Peace First is we help you build out a plan for what you're going to do to turn that big idea into a reality. Then we connect you with what you need to make that happen. Whether it's a mentor like Kelsey, whether it's a grant of up to $250 to buy supplies. But first, we start with helping you think through the different stages of the plan. So we have a couple tools you can download if you need to go further than what we offer in this journey right here. What we have you start by doing is setting goals. Think about how you're going to center your values. So how are you going to keep compassionately engaging with other people? And how are you going to show courage by standing up for what you believe? Who are you going to partner with? What ways are you going to know you're moving in the right direction? And that can be really simple, right? Daniel was working a project on voter registration. And so he said, I'm going to measure my success pretty simply. I'm going to see how many students I register to vote, right? And your measure of impact can even be qualitative, right? You can say, I'm going to find this way to collect stories or learn about other people's experiences after my project. There are many different ways to tell that your project is making change, but what we ask you to do is set an intention for how you're going to measure that. And then you take a list of steps, right? So every project is more doable when you break it down into a list of specific actions that you'll take. We help you do that here. And then after you submit that, again, here's Kelsey back to give Daniel feedback. So you'll get some feedback on your plan, both the strengths and things to consider, which aren't necessarily things that are wrong with your plan, but things where you could take it a step further, or things where, you didn't talk about something that we were wondering if you'd thought of. And so you're getting that feedback, and you have an opportunity to go back and forth with your adult mentor and brainstorm ideas that might make your plan stronger. And sometimes your adult mentor will share articles or research or ideas that might be helpful to you along the way. So once your plan is all set, once you've set your goals, decided who you're going to partner with, and laid out your action steps, that's when you're ready to apply for your mini grant, right? And so we offer mini grants to lots of young people who get through this stage of the process. This is not a competitive application. Your compassionate insight has to be grounded in dialogue with other people and addressing a real problem, and your plan has to be well thought out. But you're not in competition with Ace or with Quinn to get this funding. This is based on the strength of your plan. So when you're applying for a mini grant, the form is actually really simple. We think about grant applications like they're a big scary thing, but we've built something where what you need to do is tell us, look, this is the resource I need, and this is how much it costs. And if you'd like to add more of them, you can do that by clicking this button. And so once you've done that, then we have you answer a few eligibility questions. And then what'll happen is you'll get a comment from another Peace First staff member, like Andrea on our team, approving your mini grant. And then we send out mini grants every week. So you'll be able to get your mini grant in no time at all and use it to start acting on your project. Now, there's a quick phase in here, and I'm not going to show this because Daniel's payment details are in there. But after the grant, you're simply going to add some information about where you'd like the payment to be sent and who you'd like the payment to be made out to. You can have it made out to you if you have your own bank account, or you can have it made out to an adult or an organization that you trust. Either way is fine with us. We just need to know who to send it to and where to send it. We'll get it to you quickly. And so then after you get your funding, that's when it's time to look back at your plan that you made and start going through those steps one by one. We have tools to help you track your progress and keep your team on track as you do it. And so as you go through, you have the opportunity to post updates. And the America's Promise team will share a little more about why that's important. But it's as simple as sharing a title, some text, and an image if you'd like. Updates are a time to share successes that you've had, but also to ask questions. You can share an update that says, hey, we had a difficult time with this that we didn't expect. What would you do if you were in our situation? Uh, Daniel shared a lot of updates, and he had some very fun red, white, and blue pictures. So please, we encourage you to be creative with how you share. And then the final step is once you're done with your project, to share a reflection. So we have a couple questions that we ask you. How did the project deepen your understanding of the injustice? Um, you know, how many people in your community did you impact and how did you know? What were some challenges for you? And what advice would you give to the next young people who go through this project? Once you go through the reflect phase, not only does that complete the agreement that you made when you received the $250 grant, but that makes you eligible for some pretty cool additional opportunities that the America's Promise folks are going to talk about a little bit. So I hope that makes sense. We ask you to go through this project in 5 phases. You're going to identify a problem that you care about. You are going to come up with a compassionate insight through dialogue with other people in your community. You're going to make a plan for how you're going to bring that big idea to life. And then you're going to get a mini grant that helps you make it happen. You're going to go out into your community and take action on your plan. Then you're going to send a reflection. And while you do this, you are going to be part of a community of hundreds of young people throughout the country on a site with thousands of young people throughout the world, and you guys will be able to talk to each other, learn from each other, and see each other's stories play out in real time. So you won't be alone while you're doing this work, and you'll be able to learn from everyone else's stories that are here with you on peacefirst.org. What I'm going to do now is see if there are any questions in the chat box. It doesn't look like there are any. So maybe I'll pass it back to the America's Promise folks, and if there are any questions at the end, I'll answer those.
Thank you for the presentation, Fish. That was awesome. And thank you for the folks that joined us. I hope that you guys took something out of what Fish said, that you guys were able to like be inspired to continue filling out the application or to give it that final push that you need to get done. As was mentioned a little earlier in the webinar, we're fielding for questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to enter them into the chat box. If you don't have any questions just now, feel free to email us at America's Promise. And also this webinar is being recorded, so we can send it out to anyone who has questions after the webinar session as well. So just another moment to see if anyone has any questions that they'd like to enter into the chat box. Okay, well, if there are no questions, just to reiterate a little bit about what Fish said, please, please, please make sure to follow up and to give updates and to take pictures and just continue to do what you can to make sure that you're able to build a community. We want to be able to show the power of youth and the strength of youth through this challenge. And we also want the other young people to know that they're not alone in caring about their communities and caring about making an impact. So with that, thank you everyone for joining us, and please reach out if you have any questions.